Hey guys, welcome back. You guys have all met Poppy, you've been to his place. I'm going to do something different today, and we're actually going to go to Poppy's daughter, my sister-in-law, her house. Now my wife and I, we actually live about 5 minutes walk through that forest back there. And now that the three of us are all gardening, it's kind of funny at family events, we'll just be sitting around talking about soil health and what's going on in the garden. We probably drive everyone nuts. But it's really nice to have people that you're close with and people that you love into the same passion as yours. So we're going to share that passion today by touring her place. She's actually started her own YouTube channel called Gardening in the North. So head on over there. She's got some cool videos. One she just did that I actually really liked was making onion powder. And I have to say, I was just in her kitchen smelling the onion powder, and it's like, I'm doing it. I'm so doing that. My wife's already buying a dehydrator. So check her out at Gardening in the North, and I hope you enjoy her tour. It's a wonderful place. Tons of annual gardens.
No, cut. From my garden.
I dug it up.
I dug it up and put it here. So when we first moved to this property, there were 5 raised beds here, and they were approximately 3 by 5 feet, 3 by 6 feet. And so over the past 3 years, I have expanded this garden to, and I've added 4 extra beds. And so part of that process is I've laid down cardboard. I've then put the boxes on top of the cardboard. I've added some, leaves and branches and stuff like that inside the box. And then I added my compost, planted my plants, and then added wood chips. And so adding the wood chips means that when we have days and days where it doesn't rain, I know that the ground underneath, or the soil underneath the wood chips, is still moist for my plants. And so that helps me as a time saver, that I'm not out here every day watering my garden. And so one of the things that I've done recently that I haven't done in the past is I'm preparing for next year. I've already gone and gotten a couple loads of wood chips. I've already gone and got a couple loads of mushroom compost to mix in with the compost that we make here on our property, in order to have all that ready for next year. So in this garden, which I call our box garden, it's all our raised beds, I'm growing tomatoes in 3 of them. I'm growing roughly 270 beets. I have my carrots. I have cabbage. First time ever, I've grown kohlrabi, which is amazing. You'll love it. I'm also growing cucamelons. So I don't know if you've tried that, but I'm trying that. And I have to say that I've hit success with watermelons. So I'm doing sugar baby watermelons this year. So what I did is I put 1.5 foot of compost, and then I covered it in wood chips. And then I decided what I was going to plant there. And so one of the things that I thought would be great is to have a strawberry patch all along it. So you can see here that we have a lot of runners that still need to be placed into the soil so that they can grow and produce more strawberries for next year. The other thing that we did is we planted some blueberry plants. So you'll see here, this is one of them. We have 6 in total around the fence. Here's another one. And I just want to stop and show you the sunflowers. So throughout the property, this year is my first year that I have planted sunflowers. And so you'll see when we get to the raised garden bed how big they are. The tallest one that I've grown so far, 12 feet. So we have grown our garden space to about 2,000 square feet. And so one of the things I want to show you today is our sugar snap pea plants. So all along this fence, in a way to cover up the fence, I've planted these. And we have come out here probably every second day for the past 5 weeks and collected, I'm going to say, probably 30 snap peas off of the plants. So one of the mistakes I made this year was I planted too many seeds under my grow lights, and I ended up with way too many seedlings for cucumbers. And so as I brought them out and I was placing them around the garden, I realized that I had 2 extra, and I thought, throw them in here, it'll cover up the fence, and this is what I've gotten so far. Okay, so currently we're in the hilltop garden, and this garden is east-west facing, so the sun comes up on that side and it goes across and then it comes over here, and so this garden here gets a lot of sun. And when we first moved here to this property, this wasn't here, this was all grass. And you know, I quickly realized that the amount of sun that this area gets would be perfect for a garden. And the first garden I put in was roughly 10 by 20 feet. And I soon realized that that was way too small for me. I needed more. So I increased it. I increased it probably by 3 times that amount. And then I realized that was too small as well, and I increased it again. And so basically what I've done now is I've gone from our property line. So there is a field beside our property, and I've gone right to the property line, right to the flower bed that was already existing in here when we moved here. So what I've done is I've laid down cardboard, tons of cardboard, and I covered it with compost, some manure, and then I covered it in probably about 8 to 10 inches of wood chips. And over the past year, I've put more wood chips down, because as it gets compacted and compost is underneath, you need more. And so basically what I've done is I turned the grass into viable soil. And so in this garden here, I have similar things to what's in the box garden. I have a lot of tomatoes. So I have 107 tomato plants. And that's probably a story in itself that I can share. Because when you garden, you make mistakes, and part of making mistakes is the fun part about it. And so I ended up with 107 tomato plants planted in my garden. And so if you look across the way here, you will see that I have my trellis system. And that is where I have 2 rows of tomatoes. In the far corner, I also have 2 rows of tomatoes, and all along the border of our property line are tomatoes. So right here is where I planted 33 black bean plants. And you'll see that I have set up these bamboo trellises, and the reason I did that is the research that I found on black bean plants is that they will often send out a runner. And I thought, okay, wouldn't that look gorgeous if I had a trellis and it was covered in black bean plants with the flowers and so on. So big mistake, because I didn't get any runners, and I had a knee-high bush here of black beans with my trellis and nothing on it. So here I have my bell peppers, and you know, for the past 2 years, I've not been successful on growing any peppers. And the first year, I think I planted them the 12 inches apart, like, you know, you're told to. The second year, I put them a little bit closer, and I planted more because I thought if I plant more, maybe I'm gonna get a few. And then, you know, over this past winter, I decided to do a lot more research on why and how, and, you know, what would be the best method for me. And one of the things I found was that, one, pepper plants like friends. They want to be close together. They don't want to be far apart, because when they're far apart, they're cold. And so pepper plants are more of a tropical plant. They want to be warm. And so one of the things I did is I got a bunch of black pots, the kind of pots you would get if you bought a plant from Home Depot, Home Hardware, your garden store. And I cut the bottom off of it, and I dug it into the soil. And then I put compost, manure, and planted my pepper plants in them, and success. So these tomato plants here are the tomato plants that my son and I did a video on, where we were hunting for hornworms. So along here are my asparagus plants. And so for any of you that don't know, these are perennial, which means that every year they will come up. The only thing that I do for them is I put a little bit more wood chips down, and I actually sprinkled some fertilizer this year. I put a little bit of compost and then put the new wood chips on top. They're growing fantastic. So the first year that I had them, I probably got, I don't know, a handful of spears, and we were like so excited, let's make soup out of 5, right? And then the second year I got some more, and we were able to saute them up and put them in eggs and so on and so forth. And this year I have soup in the freezer because I had these and I didn't have to do anything. They are going to grow every year. So a couple things before I let you go. I just picked this yellow striped zucchini, and I'm showing you the green side. So I've picked probably about 15 of them, and this is the first one that's green. So I don't know if any of you know why all of a sudden I would get green on it, because when they start growing yellow. So I thought that was kind of interesting. Thought you might be able to help me out with that. If you watch any of my videos, you will see that I'm trying to grow things that, you know, I normally wouldn't grow, food that I normally haven't tried, and so this is one of them. This is the first year. This is a white scallop squash, and it is so delicious. You treat this like a zucchini. You cut it up. It's summer squash. You eat the skin, and I sauteed it up, and everyone that had it for dinner, including my kids, enjoyed it. So if you want to see more videos on some of the new and exciting things that I'm doing, then come on out to Gardening in the North. Thanks for sharing.
Thanks for watching. I hope you enjoyed it, and make sure to go subscribe and watch some videos of that awesome new YouTube channel called Gardening in the North. See you on the next one. I just want to show you how many seeds I got. 4 cups of seeds. 4 cups. Seed exchange, anyone?